Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your April 2023 astrology reading. So let's go ahead and take a look at this month. I think this is going to be a good eclipse cycle for Sag. I really do. I think this is going to be a good time for you to initiate new projects and to do things that really speak to your inner child, which is wonderful. So let's talk about the eclipse first, and then we'll talk about Mercury retrograde, because those things are certainly layered on top of one another, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Okay. So beginning of April, I know I'm a little bit late with these, but beginning of April, we only had a couple things really happen. We had Mercury coming into Taurus, and then we had a full moon in Libra. Okay. Full moon in Libra, 11th house was great. And then we have this moon now starting to wane. All right. And the waning, because it's building into an eclipse, what's happening is the moon is sort of coming into that total alignment with the earth and the sun. And when we have that new moon, which is a total solar eclipse, that's when that intensity is going to really initiate. And then that's going to even build up even more to the full moon eclipse, which is happening at 14 degrees of Scorpio, which we will have some Uranian opposition going on there as well. And that's happening on May 5th. So because of this new moon eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries, that's happening on the 19th of April, which is going to actually be the 20th for Europe and Australia. Fifth house is really the playhouse, right? This is where our creativity comes out, our own inner child. For those of you who have children, this might be a really wonderful time to do something special with your children, or there may be an event that happens with one of your kids as well. But I think this is a time where the fun, niggling feeling that you get of just I really want to do something that is pleasurable, that keeps my mind flowing and free. And, this is something that you can do for yourself. I don't know if you have any kind of hobby. This would probably be a good time to just spend doing your hobby things. If you are a painter or a dancer or a yoga person or a rock climber or a little model train person, whatever the case is, this is going to be a good time to let that inner child out and really play. Because I think you're going to have a lot of real world stuff that you're going to have to deal with this Mercury retrograde. There's a lot of relational things going on, and you're going to need some kind of an escape. And I actually think this eclipse cycle for Sagittarius specifically is very much going to be about the escape, especially that full moon over in Scorpio. Okay. Now let's talk about this Mercury retrograde. So just to recap, this eclipse is on April 19th here in the US. On the 21st, just a day and a half later, Mercury stations retrograde, which means at the time of the eclipse, Mercury is barely moving. We could even say he's standing still at that point. Okay. Now he officially stations retrograde at 15 degrees. From now and the 21st, when he retrogrades, he's already slowing down. He's already in his pre-shadow phase. So yes, he's already starting to get slower. And as he stops on the 21st, right next to Uranus, just a couple of degrees away from Uranus, we have that eclipse. So the fact that we have supercharged Uranus here doing his electric, disruptive, chaotic, but also brilliant and innovative and inventive thing. And then we have Mercury coming and just hanging out. And then we've got this big total eclipse going on. You can probably expect something unexpected to happen, okay? Especially when it comes to bigger worldly things. But for you as an individual, the sixth house is really connected with our workplace. So the people that we work with. Now, if you work from home, that's fine, but we all still work with people, okay? We have clients, we have customers, we have patients, we have employers, we have vendors that we work with, we have professional services that we utilize, so chances are there's going to be some strangeness going on. And there's a highly charged electric quality with this Mercury retrograde as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if emails didn't go through, or some hosting account went down or something like that. So don't be too concerned if there are a few communication missteps. That I would say like that should be expected at this point. If you have some kind of a project meltdown at work, I wouldn't be surprised. If you had some kind of unruly or difficult to work with person kind of show their true colors, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. All right. This is just, an erratic situation that we have going on. And the eclipse being in Mars ruled signs, Aries and then Scorpio, is even adding to that aggressive nature even that much more. And of course, we have Mars in your 8th house here, which can feel like it's a challenge. And 8th house does have a lot to do with other people. So it might be that another person feels like they don't have control over their life. And so they might be acting out or projecting, and that could be creating some problems. If you are married or if you have a spouse or a partner or someone that you are legally or financially bound to, I do think this transit, you're going to notice it a lot more in them than you probably notice it in yourself. Your focus is going to be a little bit more on that inner child play with the 5th house and the workplace stuff. But as we have Venus moving in through the 7th house, she comes in tomorrow into Gemini, and then we have Mars in the 8th. It does lead me to believe that the other person in your life who's important, specifically a spouse if you have one, that they might really be going through something. And you may kind of just need to be that container where you sort of let them have their moment and you just let them express and emote and opine and do all of those things that they feel that they need to do without the threat of abandonment, okay? I think Sagittarius is taking on a more caring and nurturing role right now within their family units, within their workplaces and all of that, kind of needing to step up and be the mature one that's like the rock of the situation, the unwavering, unbending person. I think this has a lot to do with Saturn in the 4th. You are the grounded energy of the zodiac right now, which maybe you don't see it that way, or maybe you do, I'm not sure, but you are the grounded person and the one that a lot of other people can rely upon when they are the ones having their moments. All right. I don't think this is a time where Sag is going to have a moment, Now you might be in a situation where you feel like you need to get out. Like your workplace might be a little too chaotic, and it may be a definitive moment where you say, all right, I can't do this anymore. I have to find a way out. Now, you might not be able to find a way out right now. I think that will come later on in the next month and a half when Mars moves into Leo. That's probably when you're going to really start to feel it. Plus, we also have that Venus retrograde July, August, and in the beginning of September going on through Leo as well. So you're going to have enough freedom things going on later on in the year. But this is probably the moment where you realize that there is something that you need to get free from. The path and the way to get out will be shown later on for you, Sag. But right now, it just might be about acknowledgement. I don't like it here. This is pushing me over the edge, right? This is the straw that broke the camel's back type of stuff for Sagittarius. And, I do feel you continuing to hold your obligation, continuing to fulfill your obligations, continuing to fulfill your obligations, continuing to hold up your end of the bargain. But I also think there are certain things that you're just not going to be putting up with anymore either, especially when it comes to what's going on in the workplace. Some of you might have some health stuff going on as well, but what this really could be is an illumination or a diagnosis where you finally are like, okay, this is what the problem is, which can be excellent because once you discover what the true diagnosis is, then you can truly begin to heal from it. So I do feel this astrological environment with its surprises, it's actually going to be so beneficial for us in terms of carving that real path that we can take to make our lives be whatever it is we want to make them. Okay? All right, Sag, I'm going to keep these short and sweet. Thank you all so much. You guys know how much I love you. Have a great month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.